Clan War League's fast approaching, let's give you 5 of the best Town Hall 12 attacks that you can use right now. What's good, my friends? My name's Corrupt. Let's start number 5, the Queen Charge Hybrid. In order to simplify this one for you, you will be using a Queen Charge, so all you want to do is look for either the Town Hall or the Eagle Artillery within range of the enemy CC. Now, if both are in there, just charge your way in for it. But outside of that, that's all you need to do. Now, you can bring the use of a Yeti Bomb in order to enhance your Queen Charge by controlling where she's going by using it on either a single Inferno, multi-Inferno, or the Town Hall. Doesn't really matter where, as long as you're getting some good value from the use of the 2 Yetis and the Rage. Then you want to start in your Queen Charge, mainly since you know exactly where you're going to be entering into. I would highly recommend bringing the use of a Cocoa Balloon in order to soak up any Seeking Air Mines. These are balloons that go onto the outside to provide a little bit more support. Now, you can also bring in the use of a Baby Dragon to create one side of the funnel and a Yeti on the other. The Yeti is a great way in order to get some damage on defenses on either the first layer or even on the outside of the base. The next main thing that you will want to do is charge in. A Super Wall Breaker is an obvious answer, or you can use regular wall breakers. Make sure that you use one test before you send in the rest of them. That way they're able to easily open the compartment. Now, normally, when you use those rage spells, you want to mainly look at what are going to be the main threats to your Queen Charge, which is going to be the Town Hall. So you want to be able to use the rage spell on your healers and Queen to get through the Town Hall. That second rage spell is going to be used for the enemy CC. That's how you distinguish upon how many rage spells you will need to bring. Now, if you're wondering how do you deal with singles, how do you charge into them? Very simple. Just drop a free spell once it goes to phase 2 of its charge. Then you're able to easily get through that and get through the enemy CC troops while underneath the rage spell. Now, in order to create the other side of the funnel, you'll be using the King and the Siege Barrack. These two provide so much support together and thus are a great option for you to then send in your hybrid right the way into the base. The main goal here is to make sure that the hybrid kind of looks like this in terms of its pathing to make it simple. Normally, what I would recommend is if you're seeing a lot of defenses, this is the best part to use the hybrid. If you see a bit more of a spread out base where there's multiple areas where there's nothing, then that's where Queen Charge Miners works better. Other than that, sometimes you may have the Archer Queen die, and you will have the healers split right over. This provides a lot more support after you use that first heal spell and the Grand Warden ability in order to make sure that you're able to easily push your miners through while still having at least some sort of healing. In this case, he does bring 3 heal spells, but you still got a lot of good support when you've got the use of the healers. They just provide a lot of healing on your miners and hogs and can really help your attack tenfold. Other than that, it's a very simple way for you to get 3 stars a lot quicker, and that's just by using the Queen Charge Hybrid. If you're still not comfortable with it, you can bring the use of a Blizzard in order to create one side of the funnel, and then all you have to do is just do a Queen Walk, and that's about it. The same thing mostly applies, though you will be just using the King, and you will not be using a Siege Barrack since you already used the Blimp. Other than that, that is a very simple way for you to easily rank up the 3 stars by just using the Queen Charge Hybrid. In the number 4 spot, we have the Blizzard Lalo. In order to understand this attack, you mainly want to go in for the enemy CC and the enemy Queen. Those are going to be your 2 main factors. Outside of that, in terms of determining where to use a Blizzard, you want to look at whether the Eagle is better to use the Blizzard on or the Town Hall. That is it. That's all you really need to understand. Now, you can use this as a fresh Town Hall 12. If you have Town 11 max troops and Town 11 max heroes, you can actually wreck a mostly maxed base by using this attack. So all you really need to do is just understand the basic fundamentals, and you could actually crush any base as long as it is good enough and you're getting good value from it. Now, the main goal is to use the Blizzard by using the Blimp and the Lava Hound. The Lava Hound will tank, and that way you can use the Blizzard. drop in a invisibility and then a rage spell. Make sure to not turn the building of choice, like the Eagle Artillery in this case, invisible, so that way you're able to get rid of it and keep your super wizards protected. You can also take care of the enemy CC, and you don't really need to worry about the enemy queen because you've got the use of something known as a Sui hero. For those of you who don't know what a Sui hero is, it is using your heroes to dive into the base, also known as a hero dive. That way what you're able to do is get some good value like an air defense, but also you can get rid of an enemy queen. You can still use ice golems to provide a little bit more tankage, while you're able to start working your way down towards either the town hall and the enemy queen or just to the enemy queen. Really does depend upon where you're entering into. Now, as your Sui hero starts to work its way across, you will be starting with the Lalo portion. To make it easier for you, you want to try and make sure that you're looking at it like a river. That way what you're able to do is work on one side with the Lalo portion, and then on the other side to kind of merge into one big Lalo. That way what you're able to do is start easily working your way around. Now, one small thing that you may make a mistake on, especially if you're new, is having your Warden on ground. Do not let this happen. It's really funny to see it, but I would definitely not recommend it because cannons and ground expos can actually lock onto your Grand Warden. So you do want to use the haste spells though to get to things like the air defenses, expos, wizard towers, and you want to use the Warden ability to protect him, especially if he's on ground, and also the balloons as they start working their way across. You just want to make it far easier for yourself to easily work through. Other than that, you can use this as a new Town Hall 12, and it is very, very easy for you guys to use it as it can absolutely crush bases no matter the level of the base and the level of your troops. In the number 3 spot, we have the Zap Dragons. This one has a small blizzard attached to it. This is a very simple attack to use. All you really want to do is you mainly want to use a blizzard with it to go in for something like the Town Hall, maybe a multi-inferno, and for an air defense to make it a whole lot easier for your attack. All you're doing is just creating a funnel. Now, you don't have to use a blizzard if you don't want to. The main goal after this is just to use the rest of the lightning spells and earthquake on the other air defenses. So the main goal here is to start off with the use of the battle blimp, use a couple balloons to find seeking air mines and stuff, and that way you're able to push your way in for the town hall. And the main goal here should be to get as much of it down as you can. That way you're making it a whole lot easier on yourself by getting through, taking down other structures. Even if you don't get to that final air defense, all you really need to do is start your ZapQuake. This is by using 2 lightning spells and just 1 earthquake on each of them. This attack still works even versus single Infernos. So all you really want to do is just use your heroes on one side, they're going to clear up the enemy CC, and a baby dragon on the other, so you can send in your balloons and dragons. That's it. So all you want to do really realistically is just to work your way in with the dragons and the balloons towards the final air defense. That's it. There's not a lot of base identification for this one because it is dragons, and all you want to do is you just want to have an easy lane through as long as you're able to consistently start working your way in. You can use a rage spell on a group of dragons to make it easier for them to get through the enemy queen, and you could use the Warden ability to protect all of them as they go through both the eagle shots and through a single target inferno. It makes it a lot easier. Though remember, at this point, you're not going to have any spells, so you do want to really make sure that you use that Warden ability in the core of the base. That way you're able to get through. And along with that, once you're able to get right the way over towards that single inferno, it will go down with no problem at all, especially when you have multiple dragons on it. And they're going to be able to clear through it like it's nothing. This is why this is the 3rd best attack in the game for Town Hall 12, because, I mean, come on, it's dragons. They are very, very consistent and very, very strong, though they're not as consistent as spamming in a swarm unit like witches in order to get a triple, but dragons are a great option. In the number 2 spot, we have the Super Witches. Now, this is the Super Witch Slap. This is by using the 2 healers and 2 super witches on each side in order to create the funnel, so that way you can send in your bowlers and your heroes into the base. Now you can also use a smash version, which is using the lightning spells on an Inferno or an area of the base, and then using a Warden walk, and then also going ahead and moving into the super witches. That way you're able to easily get your way in. Now, this version, it's on a little bit of a wider base, which I wouldn't recommend, but you're going to start off by using the super witches on one side, and you're going to do the same thing on the other. That way you're able to create a funnel. Having 2 healers on them is a big deal, and it's going to make it far easier for the rest of your attack. Now, the main goal here should be able to create the funnel, so you simplify it down for everything to work in. You want to think of this as control. You want to control where everything is going into, so do not rush this attack. Now, the main goal here, you do want to send in your heroes with the bowlers, but in this case, he's going to send in the bowlers with the Warden, and unfortunately, a lot of those bowlers are going to go by. They're going to go boom, and they will cease to exist. So you do want to make sure that you are controlling where they go. So you want to make sure that you're using the rage spells for the queen, for the super witches, maybe for Valkyries that you have in the CC. That way you're able to easily continue to work yourself around the base, making it a whole lot easier. You want to use the Warden Eternal Tome to protect as many units as possible, including your heroes. That way you're able to still blast the way through. Unfortunately, in this case, the Warden does die out, but he did serve its purpose for long enough as you go through. Other than that, this one is not the most perfect example of this, but no one is perfect with this type of attack, and thus it is a good idea to show the imperfections of using different attack strategies, though this is still one of the best attacks because you can still get 3 stars even when the attack looks like it already crumbled. You can still easily get through by just having the big boys. I mean, those big boys do a ton of work. Even when the super witch dies, the big boy is the final thing to just stay up and get through. This is why super witches are so strong. They have big boys that can pretty much do a ton of damage by themselves and easily get a triple with no problem. So even though there were some imperfections, you can still get 3 stars with super witches. In the number 1 spot, of course, we have the Zap Witch. This is the easiest attack to use right now in the game. All you need to do is just use the ZapQuake on an Inferno or 2. That way what you're able to do is start either using a log launcher or wall wrecker. Now this one is different. This is using the use of a siege barrack, something that you don't normally see. However, if you look at this base, and if a majority of your witches stay on the outside, which sometimes they may do, you can always bring the use of a jump spell to get deeper in. Sometimes it is just clearly better to use the siege barrack over using something else. So the main goal here should be to use the ZapQuake first and foremost. You are going to use the lightning spells to get rid of as many of the Infernos as you can. If you do misplace a spell like a poison in this case, just be very careful and be very mindful so you won't have something to deal with the enemy CC troops. Now, if you're seeing all single Infernos and you don't want to use the lightning spells, you can always use 8 earthquake spells, the golems, super wizards, and the witches to steamroll through the base. That is how simple it is. And this army does not need max heroes. If you're still roughly a new Town Hall or new Town Hall 12, you can still use this quite effectively. It really all comes down to golem placement. You want to be able to make sure that you have your golems spread out so you're able to get the most value from them. You also want to keep in mind that in this case, since the log launcher would have been completely worthless, a lot of the witches are going on the outside. That does mean that you don't have to use the log launcher and you could use a siege barrack instead. Usually, most of the time though, you want to have something to deal with the enemy CC like a poison. Unfortunately, this attacker will not be able to do so. However, he's got the use of the jump and he's able to use the rest of the witches as they're able to start powering through, and you've also got the use of the Warden ability to protect as many of the units as possible. That way you have an easy way to overwhelm the Town Hall. The main reason to use the Siege Barrack is just if it's not really plausible to use the Wall Wrecker or Log Launcher, since the base forces the witches to stay on the outside, also using the Siege Barrack to get through. If you want to see my last video on the Town Hall 12 Yetis, make sure you guys check it right here, and make sure to subscribe, and I'll be catching you in the next video. Corrupt, signing out.